Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 36. In this week's episode, our question of the day is, what should I do? I just found out my employee is looking for another job. Well, it happened. You just found Winston's resume and cover letter in the printer, and it's addressed to a different company. Winston is looking for another job. Now what do? We've seen this scenario before. In fact, if you're running and growing a business, it's inevitable that one day you'll face this situation. And it's also likely that your reaction will be shock. You can't believe Winston would blindside you like this after all the support you've given him. Anger. How dare he look for a job on your time? You should fire him on the spot. Fear. Now what are you going to do about getting the work done without him? And confusion. What should you do next? What can you do next? Well, the first thing to do is to disengage your emotions. Although it may feel personal, it's just business. It's natural for everyone to keep an eye on their own best interest. In fact, that's what employee engagement is all about, creating alignment between the company's best interest and the individual's best interest so they can do their best work. But even in the best of situations, things change. People grow. Their needs change. Their aspirations change. So at some point, that alignment may become unhinged. In fact, maybe Winston isn't unhappy working for you at all, but maybe he wants to take the next step in his career or change careers completely. Or maybe his personal needs require significantly more money. You're focused on the best interest of the company, and Winston is focused on the best interest of Winston. So take a moment, take a deep breath, and stop making it about you. Entrepreneurship is about problem solving. So move forward right to solving this problem. Now ask yourself, do you want to keep Winston? Think carefully about this question. When my clients face this type of situation, often their first thought is, how can I convince him to stay? But is that really what you want? And above all, keep this in mind. When money is the reason they want to leave, increasing their pay only buys you time between now and when someone comes along with a larger salary offer, because that person has reduced their role to a purely monetary one, and trying to retain them on salary alone puts you on an endless merry-go-round of salary Russian roulette. Besides, do you want that hanging over your managerial head for the rest of time? No, you don't. So I say, if it's a money issue, smile and let them go. On the other hand, if it's something else, advancement opportunity, or the type of assignments they can work on, or some other development or work culture issue, having a candid conversation with them and working together to come up with creative solutions may be just the thing. But again, that's if you want to try to keep them. But if you don't, then that's fine too. After all, a business is a living thing, and fresh blood brings a new perspective, new talent, and can keep the company vital and innovative. It's part of the natural evolution of growing a business. Okay, I know the next big question is, if Winston is looking for a job, can't I just fire him? Well, surprisingly, in most states, it is legal to fire someone who is looking for another job. That's because most states are at will. But, and you had to know that there was a but, if the employee claims that you had an ulterior motive for firing them, that didn't have anything to do with their job search, they may have grounds for a wrongful termination lawsuit. So think carefully and maybe even consult counsel before kicking them out. Now, on a bit of a different note, employees absolutely may not use company equipment or work time for their job search. Both of those things belong to the company, so using them for non-company business is a huge no-no. So, finding Winston's information on the company printer is a problem that you can certainly address with him. With all that said, I generally go with one of two possible approaches. Either I sit down with the employee and have a heart-to-heart. I found this on the printer. Is there anything you want to tell me? Or I do some below-the-waterline work first and then have the heart-to-heart. Things like making sure I have solid processes in place for the job. We have people cross-trained across the company, and we're keeping our recruiting bench full. In fact, all these things should be part of the ongoing business of the business anyway. A situation like this is just a reminder, a wake-up call, to get and keep your ducks in a row on the workforce front. But you'll note that both approaches involve a heart-to-heart. That's because when something like this happens, it won't do anyone any good to ignore it. Even if Winston doesn't resign, you'll still have in the back of your head that he was looking, and your trust will be broken. And that doesn't make for a good working relationship. No, you have to discuss it so that anything that needs to be addressed can be addressed. The air can be cleared, and you have a clean runway going forward. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.